got 75 conversations the first day. So there's a small group of pioneers that were trained, and they're really excited to go out there and not just stand at the cart, but actually go and approach people and direct them back. You see, they recorded 75 conversations. And these are some more students, but mostly, but my wife has all those girls flanked next to her at our conventions and regional conventions there. The one on the left is now a regular pioneer, and her sister in the middle child, she's just got baptized this year. And their sister on the right is an unbaptized publisher on her way. And their dad grew up in the truth, and he left it. And then when he came to the assembly and had all the videos and stuff, he said, wow, things have changed. Now this man here is, you see all the children, usually they tell us, you know, we have this problem in school, we can't answer that question, why do we celebrate Christmas, birthdays, they don't know what to do. So he said, okay, look, we're gonna write down all your questions, and then we're gonna have you to do your research. You tell us what your problem is, you do your research, and then you give a talk on that so you can be ready for school. And we'll grade you, we'll tell you if you did good or bad, all the kids. So they all came. But now I have a study, his name was Omede, he was from the chieftain tribe. So in the culture, children are to be seen, not heard, but he didn't mind about that. He said, I want to get my questions answered too. So there's the big man right there with all the kiddies. So he did his research, and he did his little talk. So he would suck me dry, I'm telling you. 3 hours, questions after questions, wow. And I said, you know, I told him, I said, my friend, if you get baptized, then I'll take you to Bethel. So there he is at his baptism. He said, will my big body fit in that little water? He sure did. So he came on out, he's our brother now. So I had to keep my word to him and the 2 other studies I promised, and I took him to Bethel. He's late now, he passed away, but at least I know that he died, our brother. This is Brother and Sister Kamala, my first study there in Zimbabwe. I didn't understand the language, but I was trying. His wife said I was butchering the language, so she would sit in. And at times she would ask me, Brother Smith, did you hear his answer? Because I would ask him maybe who was God, and he would say Jesus Christ, but I couldn't hear what he was saying, so I was like, good, paragraph. So she had to help me, and while helping me, both of them came into the truth. They said, I'm his Izibulo, which means his firstborn now. He told me, one time he said something in English when we were starting in the required brochure. He said, I've been living like an animal for 44 years. So I asked him, what do you mean? He said, I'm not married. That chapter on family that talked about getting legally married, they pay lobola, bride price. So you pay for your wife, but you're not legally married. So he said, I must be legally married to do what's right in God's eyes. So he asked us to be witness to their wedding. And he was married. And after that he said, I'm free! Now, even though missionaries are based in the bigger metropolitan areas, we at times go out to the rural areas. So I had a study that would work in town, but he had a rural home, which sometimes is about maybe 3 miles off the main road. So he invited us to come out there. And he told his whole village that we were coming. So this is, the area is called Incisa. Some of the obstacles that block you on the way. The cows move and keep going, but that's the road we traveled on. And then the way it works is you have to get permission from the tribal chief. So we lost the other picture, but there we had a picture where all of us were talking to this chief's family. He's the chief right there, sitting there, asking us why we're coming, and we told him we're from America. He said, all the way to my village? So we said yes, we gave us permission. He was very happy. We placed a lot of books with him. And then off we went to my student's house. To our surprise, we went with a pioneer couple who knows the culture in the rural areas. There's certain things that you must do, and certain things that could offend the people. And being from the city, we didn't know. So Kina and the sister, her name was Ndugu, brother and sister Ndugu, which means like They call it a knob carrier, a beating stick. So I guess they beat a lot of people in the truth. But there were 33 men who came and 40 women. We placed over 100 books with this couple. And they had a lot of questions, boy. You know, they said, you know, our church says God's name is Jesus, but you people say Jehovah. Can you explain to us why you say that? You know, they were telling us that in Ndebele. You know, I told you about the language in Ndebele. So we was able to answer all their questions, and then they said, when are you coming back? So there's a study that I had. I'll tell you his story tomorrow. But at that time he was regular pioneering, and he wanted to come with us. So this time we went back, and they gave us a treat. Let my wife explain about the treat.
It's called Infe. It's similar to sugar cane, but it's a reed, so it's a sweet reed. So a lot of the children, they love this. It's more, they like, instead of having candy, this is what they have.
You can see the little kid down there eating it. And then after we had that nice snack, we went out and preached in the rural area. So there's certain ways you have to approach the homes. And they taught us how to do that. You get to the door, there's sometimes no door, so you have to say, "Kogi, kogi," making like a knocking sound with your tongue, and the people will come out. But you can't preach to the women there, the wife there. You have to wait till the man of the house comes. Yeah, and you get a chance to speak at every house. So there's a little study that invited me to the crawl there. But the only thing that was holding him back was he was not legally married. So I said, man, if we just go to town, it only costs $15 to get your certificate. So finally, one day he came to my house and said, I'm going to get married. So that's him there at his wedding, and his wife at their baptism this year. Then we went home. But there's another rural area where the closer tribe is, so we went out there. They invited us out to give a public talk. Then we preached with them in the field. We like working in the rural areas. And then after preaching with the sisters and the brothers there, they had what we call an African braai. You would say barbecue. And there the sisters are preparing the staple food of Zimbabwe called isichwala in Ndebele and sadza in Shona. Those are the main two languages in Zimbabwe. So they prepared that. We had some chicken and some turkey and vegetables, and we got our grub on. And then after that, the whole group got together singing kingdom songs. It was a beautiful day. And then we went home. Now, in 2011, we were trained for substitute circuit work. We do it in Ndebele and in English. So there was brother and sister in Ndebele, and they're the ones that trained us. These are some of the brothers and sisters we met in our assignments, different various assignments. That brother there told me he was 4 years old, and he was what they call a Malusi, or a shepherd boy, and he could see the soldiers coming home from World War II. Was it World War I, 1914? So he was approaching 100 years, and that man walked me all over the territory. I was tired. Strong. We have two remote translation offices, one in Ndebele, and this one is the Tonga translation team. So we went out to visit them. My wife lovingly made some cinnamon rolls. I think I only got a half of one. Those brothers gobbled those things down. And this is their very, very hot. This is where they had their regional convention there in that area. So the brothers, there's a small group, about only 3,000 in that language. But with all the activity, many kingdom halls are needed. As we said, there were 450 in Zimbabwe, but 110 more needed. So we don't have cement mixers. We don't have cement mixers, so the sisters get together, the brothers, and they mix the cement with what else? Yeah, the river sand, and then sometimes for the plumbing, they have to dig the ditches, everything done by hand. So they work real hard for their little kingdom halls, but they sure keep them clean. They appreciate what they get. It was nice to work with all those young brothers and see them grow over the years. and see the congregations grow. There was only one congregation in this hall, now it's 3. And it's only been there for about 4 years. Now this is, the style is simple. This is one of the halls in the rural areas. And inside we just have simple benches. The brothers, they sit there, they've got rapt attention. And the children. Cement floors, they keep them polished and shined. This Kingdom Hall, every time you go there, it looks brand new. And you're always greeted with some kind of fruit, pumpkins. Somebody tried to give me a live chicken. I said, I can't kill that. One day we were in Zambia, and that's where my friend Morris Wilkes visited. I'm sure he saw a lot of the Kingdom Halls in that area. And that's who I was joking with earlier. I saw him here, I was happy to see him. But we used to see these little toilets, and we said, I want to go inside and see what the toilets look like. So it's a men and a women toilet. So he said, wonder how they, no toilet, just a hole in the ground. Sisters, would you like that? But as you can see, the brothers keep their halls nice. One time we stayed in a house that we had no toilet like that, and my wife was like, ooh, what are we gonna do this week? But fortunately, there was a commode in the Kingdom Hall. This is our first assembly hall here in Harare, the capital city. It holds about 3,000. It was built like open air. As you know, at times it gets very hot in Africa, so there's not walls to close it in. You see, it's open air. That couple there is the first missionary couple from Gilead to come to Zimbabwe. They came from Zimbabwe, they went to Gilead in 1965, and they've been serving up to now, from 1965. That's when I was born. He was a good trainer, helped me a lot in learning the local culture and language. So there's 3 of those booths holding seating 1,000 each. For us in Bulawayo, it's the second biggest city in Zimbabwe. We still are renting facilities, so we rent at the trade fair center there. So the smaller groups are inside. The Shona or English groups, they meet inside. It was nice when we have all 3 groups. That's me there. You can't see me, but in the belly we meet outside in the arena. It's about sometimes 6,000 in the belly. Now, I told you on Thursday about our international convention and how the national stadium there in Harare holds about 60,000. But there was the first day there, and I told you I think it was almost 74,000. And how they streamed in, we locked them out in the front, they came in the back. There it is. And there's it was a nice design. Look at those African style stage there. And look who's giving the talk, Brother Rodney. And they had 10 baptismal pools. There were over 1,745 baptized. It was an outstanding event for Zimbabwe. People would never forget it. Since the last day, we had almost 84,000 in attendance. It was nice to see a lot of our old friends and missionaries, students we went to class with, and some of the brothers locally here. We took them to visit some of the local attractions there at Victoria Falls. Now, there was a disaster that happened in this area. You see those clouds? When it rains in that rural area, it just comes down in buckets, almost like Noah's flood. So it washed about 22 homes of our brothers and sisters away. So the society formed a disaster committee. I was on the committee. We went out to investigate the damage. So these are some of the homes of our brothers and sisters, and many of them were just living out in the open because the houses were washed away. They don't have much money. So the society prepared, once we sent the pictures, they made up a fund and sent the money, and that's a toilet there, you see. It was blown away, so they just put